Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2,000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is wine glass. Wine glass. Wine glass. A wine glass is a drinking glass that we use just for wine. So a wine glass often has a long, thin stem and a very thin cup at the top. Here's an example. The wine glass is full of red wine. The wine glass is full of red wine. The wine glass is full of red wine. Coffee pot. Coffee pot. Coffee pot. A coffee pot is the jug, usually the warm jug, that we use just for coffee. So when we make coffee in the morning or in the afternoon, and we make enough to share with other people or to have more than one cup of coffee, we usually make it inside a coffee pot. Here's an example. The coffee pot is full of coffee. The coffee pot is full of coffee. The coffee pot is full of coffee. Turnip. 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 A turnip is a root vegetable. We can find these under the ground, and they're usually about this shape, perhaps with kind of a sharp end to them. A turnip is sometimes used in salads and in other foods. Here's an example. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. The smaller leaves of turnip greens are the least bitter. Backbone. 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 Backbone is another way to say spine. Your backbone is the bone that goes up from the bottom of your back to the top of your back. So this very long bone, we call it your backbone or your spine. Here's an example. The backbone is made up of several smaller bones. The backbone is made up of several smaller bones. The backbone is made up of several smaller bones. Pull. 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 The verb to pull is the opposite of the verb to push. So when we push something, we move it away from ourselves. When we pull something, we pull it towards ourselves. So anytime we have to use a motion to pull something in the direction of our body, we use the verb to pull. Here's an example. The boy is pulling a red wagon with a pumpkin inside. The boy is pulling a red wagon with a pumpkin inside. The boy is pulling a red wagon with a pumpkin inside. Squat. 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 Squat can be either a noun or a verb. As a verb, to squat means to get down low, so moving your legs only to sit in a very low position, but not actually sit on the ground. So you lower yourself into a low position. As a noun, a squat means doing this as a type of exercise, the name of this as an exercise. Here's an example. Squat down instead of bending over when picking up heavy items. Squat down instead of bending over when picking up heavy items. Squat down instead of bending over when picking up heavy items. Gesture. 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 Gesture can be a noun or a verb. To gesture means to use your hands and other body parts to communicate something. A gesture as a noun means one of those motions, like this might be a gesture. Here's an example. Nodding your head is a common body gesture. Nodding your head is a common body gesture. Nodding your head is a common body gesture. Raise one's hand. Raise one's hand. Raise one's hand. To raise one's hand means to do this motion. We use this in school a lot when we want to answer the question. We also use this when we have an idea or maybe when we want to volunteer for something. We use this to draw attention to ourselves. Here's an example. Raise one's hand to answer a question. Raise one's hand to answer a question. Raise one's hand to answer a question. Lift up. Lift up. Lift up. To lift something up is almost exactly the same as just the regular verb to lift. The idea with lift up is that maybe we have to put that thing above our heads or we have to move it really, really far up. So we might need to lift up something to check underneath it, something like that. Here's an example. Use your legs, not your back, to lift up heavy items. Use your legs, not your back, to lift up heavy items. Use your legs, not your back, to lift up heavy items. Hang. 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 The verb to hang is used usually these days to talk about putting things like clothes or pictures in a closet or on the wall. So when we hang something, it's usually to put it in its place, like we put it on the wall or we put it on a coat rack, like this kind of motion with a hanger. So when we hang something, we put it not on the ground, but we put it on a place that's kind of up high. Here's an example. The bat is hanging from the branch. The bat is hanging from the branch. The bat is hanging from the branch. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the expression for the thing that we use when drinking wine? Wine glass. Wine glass. And how to say the jug that we use when we want to make more than 1 cup of coffee? Coffee pot. Coffee pot. What about the word for the underground, the root vegetable that's usually about this size and might be shaped a little bit sharply at one end? Turnip. Turnip. Do you remember how to say the other expression we have for spine, the bone that goes from the bottom to the top of your back? Backbone. Backbone. Let's try the verb that is the opposite of to push. Pull. Pull. What about the word that we use to describe lowering yourself down with only your legs, not using any other muscles, just lowering yourself and then raising using your legs? Squat. Squat. Now, let's see if you remember how to say using your hands and your head and other body parts to make communication a little more effective. Gesture. Gesture. Another one. What about the expression that we use to describe this action? Raise one's hand. Raise one's hand. Do you remember how to say the phrasal verb that means to pick something up, especially when we need to move it to a high place? Lift up. Lift up. And finally, do you remember how to say the verb that means to put something on the wall or to put something like clothes on a coat rack? Hang. Hang. Well done. See you next time. Bye.